Hello and welcome to episode 58 on the podcast. This is going to be a special episode because I am going to be talking about a comeback story and share with you my story on how my mom is the reason why I am here doing this with you today and able to follow my passion and serve our running community. This is the episode dedicated to my mom and is really going to be part 2 of my story as a healthy runner. So this is kind of like the let me reintroduce myself episode. So this is going to be exciting. This is going to be reflective. And this is going to be a very personal episode. So I'm hoping that I can get through it. And I think I'm ready. That's what I kind of posted within our Healthy Runner Facebook group, is that I'm ready. And it's going to be exciting. You know why it's going to be exciting? Because even without knowing when I plan to do this episode, ironically, as I record this episode, it will be going live on all podcast platforms this Thursday, which all of our episodes drop on Thursdays mornings at 5 a.m. For those early morning runners and want to listen to it on their Thursday runs. And the date of this Thursday is February 25th, 2021. So exactly 1 year after the Healthy Runner podcast officially went live within our first episode, which was titled Intro to Becoming a Healthy Runner, and was really kind of my story. And I wanted to give you a little background on who I was, like who is this guy that you're listening to, and to give you a little bit of background on where I come from and my experiences that can help you out with your running. So this is the 1 year anniversary episode, and I am super proud, honestly, of this accomplishment. As when I first launched the podcast, honestly, I wasn't sure what it would turn out to be. And we are 58 episodes, so we have produced more episodes than weeks in this past year, which I think is a pretty huge accomplishment. If anything else, you can't say that I haven't been consistent, right? As with running, consistency is key, and I've been consistently showing up for you live within our Healthy Runner Facebook group, as well as on the podcast. So as many of you know, I pour my heart and soul into creating the best show possible and the content for you. And honestly, it is working. So we're growing really fast and consistently rank in the top 30 on Apple Podcasts for running podcasts within the US. So we actually had our first 5K download month in January. And each and every month, our downloads and our subscribers are increasing. And we have 77 ratings on Apple Podcasts right now of other runners who were happy enough to share their wins, what their take-home messages were for the podcast. Give us a little 5-star rating. And I greatly appreciate that, because honestly, that is how more runners find this show. So if you've done it, I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you haven't rated the podcast, but you're here, you're enjoying what you're listening to, I'm keeping you company on your run or on your commute, then I would appreciate a rating on Apple Podcast, just letting other runners know what you love about the show. So as I mentioned 2 episodes ago, we also have our first sponsor in UCAN Energy sponsoring our show. So this is very exciting, and to see where we are 1 year later, right? So this is the exciting part of the podcast. So those of you who are jumping here on the Facebook Live, let me know you're here. Type in live into the comment box. And if you guys are catching the replay, just type in replay and type in happy anniversary, right? Happy anniversary 1 year later to the Healthy Runner podcast. And let me know you caught this. So I'll give you a little shout out, and this is going to be sharing a part of me really, and my story that I have never shared on this show before. So in the other 58 episodes, we're going to be doing like a deep dive. And honestly, this Healthy Runner Facebook community is one of the other kind of pride and joys that I have, and another major accomplishment that I'm super proud of. We've grown to now 1,400 members in our Healthy Runner Facebook community and expanded our team of run coaches. So we have a full team of 5 of us total now, and to really help you in meeting your running goals. And we post daily content within this Facebook community. And so if you're listening to this on the podcast and you're not in our community yet, request to join our community. You're going to get exclusive content, bonus content, video content, more images. So things that we can't really do on the podcast, you're going to get within the community, and honestly get your run questions answered by run coaches or by running physical therapists like myself, and honestly other community members who have done the thing that you're doing, right? And running, and we're all learning and we're all growing. And that's what I love most about our community, is that it is so supportive. And when someone posts a question, it's like everyone responds, right? And it's not, just one of those Facebook running communities where people just like post selfies to kind of keep themselves accountable. Like every day they post a selfie on their run. Like the stuff in the group, honestly, is like high quality educational content, things that you can learn from. If someone, liked a sneaker they tried, they liked gear they tried, they would post it, and we'd have a dialogue. So that's what I love most about our community. So I want to know, and I'm going to try to keep up on comments here. As I mentioned, I am here on my phone actually watching this. So guys, let me know who's here. Honestly, I can't see anyone else who is here besides, for some reason, on my phone. I only can see that Dean is here. So Dean, you're the winner. I see that you're here. Oh, here we go. I can check you guys out on my computer here. So Kat, thank you so much for joining. Roger, thank you for joining. Lisa, thank you for joining. And Lisa says, happy anniversary. Love it. Caitlin, what's going on? Thank you for joining. And I'm going to try to see some more folks in here. And let's see if I can see you guys. Cheryl's here on the live. All right, here we go. Yes, Dean says take two. Absolutely, Dean. Sometimes the first time doesn't work. This is like going to be the theme of today's podcast, the comeback, right? And persistence and grit. And we're going to tie it all into running. Trust me, we will. And Michelle, thank you so much for joining. Oh my goodness. Michelle, my friend from Ohio. How are you? So good to see you. Joe, thank you for joining. And Roger, thank you again for joining in. So is it okay with you guys if I get a little personal with you? So like I said, just in case, like this is the first episode you listen to, and or the first live that you're tuning in on Facebook, this will be a unique one. This will be like none other before. So I'm going to get personal with you if that's okay. And next week, we're going to get back to kind of original content of like structured plan. And we're going to actually be talking about, just give a little plug right now, we're going to be talking about you running mamas out there, especially with young children, especially those with new babies, those looking to get back into running. I'm going to have my colleague, my PT colleague, actually come on the show, and we're going to be sharing some great tips for you running mamas out there to kind of get back to running. So Christine Piaton is going to be coming on, and it's going to be a great episode. So that's going to be next week. So we're going to get back to normally scheduled programming, but I'm going to get personal with you guys, if that's okay, because honestly, I need to. I feel like this is something that I just need to do. I need to share with you some of my background story a little bit more than I shared with you on the introduction episode, because now we're a year later and I know you guys a little bit more, and I feel like I can go a little deeper. And unfortunately, for those of you that have been following along, on January 26th, I did unfortunately lose my mom. She lost her battle with COVID that she was battling for 2 weeks in the ICU. And unfortunately, she passed away the 26th. So about 4 weeks ago now, 4 weeks, I guess tomorrow it will be. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to share what I shared with our family and our friends during her services. Unfortunately, because of COVID restrictions, we weren't able to have it with everyone that we would like to. So we live streamed the services, which was nice. People can tune in. But I did, speak and wanted to reflect on how my mom impacted my life. So I'm going to share some of that with you guys. So again, this is like super personal. And if you just don't want to hear this, then like feel free, no like hard feelings whatsoever if you turn this off now. But I promise you, I think I can bring this back to running and how we need to persevere, how we're going to come back from this virus stronger and better than ever, and hopefully healthier than ever, right? And that's what we do here in our community. So I'm going to kind of share some of what I shared with my family and our friends during the services, and then kind of take some breaks and take some reflect on that a little bit and how I can tie it into what we do here in our Healthy Runner community. So how I started off this eulogy was, hello everyone, my name is Dwayne Scotty, and I take great pride in sharing my last name with you, as I do every single day, professionally and publicly, through my business and through my podcast show. So I gave you guys a shout out. We talked about the Healthy Runner podcast and how I show up on Facebook and I say, hey everyone, I'm Dr. Dwayne Scotty. The reason I do this, which you probably didn't know, is because I actually decided to change my last name going through physical therapy school because of the woman I was lucky enough to have in my life for 41 years. So I'm grateful for having my mom as a part of my life every single one of those years. And we all miss her a lot already. But her legacy, honestly, is going to live on through her love of family and friends. And honestly, for you guys, you are my Healthy Runner family. And so you are in that group. Like, you guys are a huge support system to me. And I greatly appreciated all of your messages. I greatly appreciated all of your posts. So within our Facebook community, a lot of you did Miles for Mom when I was going through the 2 days of the services. And again, like, you are my family. So I put you right in that bucket. And this is, I'll give you a little showing of, this is our Scotty, or my Scotty fam here. So those are my girls and my wife. And this is the Scotty family sign in my dining room right now. So I figured I wasn't going to go into the office today. I had some other things on my calendar, and I wanted to do this episode from home because I think it just fit. It was like perfect for the occasion. And we know these are challenging times that we're living in during this pandemic. I kind of, thanked everyone who did tune in to basically the live. Felt like I was doing a live like I'm doing right now as I was talking about my mom. But my mom really believed, like, her main core belief was like sharing love of family and friends. And hopefully I've been able to do that within our community. And, just to tell you guys a little bit about my mom, she was a party animal. She liked having fun, and she always liked a good party. So you may have seen some lives that I've done, some episodes where I'm like wearing a New Year's hat, or I'm wearing a Santa hat, or I'm like a birthday gear on. I don't know. I'm celebrating, right? So that's how my family is. Like, we go all out for holidays. We go all out to celebrate things. And I think that really started from, my mom. Like, even thinking about New Year's, how many of you guys, do you guys remember, and you probably do because it wasn't that long ago, but like New Year's Eve, like watching on TV, like Dick Clark's Rocking Eve, like we would tune in every year, and we never had the, I don't even know if I want to say pleasure. For those of you, if anyone's ever been to New York City during New Year's, like, tell me if that was actually pleasurable. Because like freezing my butt off, not being able to pee or drink anything for that many hours, to me is not pleasurable. But hey, you never know. Let me know if you guys have been there before and you have actually had some pleasure out of going to Times Square for New Year's Eve. But every time we would celebrate at home, we'd always invite my mom over, even when I was married, and we'd celebrate New Year's Eve, do family games. And one of the things she always loved to do, she'd be like, get by the TV. Like, every time we took pictures, we needed to like take pictures in front of the TV, like if we were actually in Times Square with Dick Clark there, rocking his Eve, right? So the other thing that, my mom was really, she was kind of the genesis behind game nights. And, I think my family, we've really kind of continued that tradition, whether it was like Sorry, Clue, Yahtzee, Rummy Cube, Sequence, right? So there's like all these family games that we love to play. And I really got that from my mom. Like, growing up, that's what we kind of did. And my mom had a smile. Like, if you guys have seen her pictures of her that I posted, her smile is like what she's been known for, in her laugh. So like, she had a laugh that was like contagious, and just absolutely loved it. She loved music. She had like a crazy music collection in our living room where, like, growing up, it was the vinyl albums. She had seriously like 500 vinyl albums. And then when CDs came out, she had her CD collection, which, again, you know, my brother and I, we had to clean out our apartment. It was like literally like 4 or 5 boxes full of CDs. And she was also a talker, so that's probably where I get some of this from, and it's kind of fitting that I have a podcast show, because I think I got some of that from her. And as you can tell, our podcast is more long form, so we're like the podcast that wants to keep you entertained during a long run, not one of those 2 or 3 milers, right? Because you're not going to get through the whole episode. So I think I can thank Mom for that. And my mom could be like very tough at times too. She was kind of a disciplinarian as I grew up. I probably needed it, honestly. I grew up not in the best area of Long Island, New York. It was a pretty rough area, and you know, there was pretty rough high school. Guns went off in my classroom. I got jumped walking with my girlfriend in like 9th grade, I believe it was. So it wasn't the best neighborhood, but her goal was for us to get out of that neighborhood, right? And for us to go to college and to kind of make better lives for ourselves, and hopefully not get, you know, sucked into the gangs that were going on in my school and the drugs and all that other stuff. And I can say she successfully did that for 3 kids. And, you know, she raised us by herself. So she was a single mom. Dad moved out, I don't know, when I was probably like 6, 7. And so essentially, didn't have a father figure growing up my whole life. And so my mom raised us by herself. And those times were tough. You know, we can talk about those probably a little bit later, but, you know, just kind of going back from some of my mom, if you guys have ever seen any of my Facebook Lives, if you go back on my personal page, not within our Healthy Runner community, but she would like always be that mom to like comment, like she would always comment on my videos. She would send like all these emojis. So that was like her thing to show her love, right? Love of family and friends. She'd be sending all like the heart emojis, the kiss emojis. Probably like that's where I got where I used so many emojis in my post, because my mom would send like 10 of those emojis every time just to like show her love, honestly, and support each other. And so many of our friends kind of reflected back on that. You know, they would love how her friends, like she would always comment on their post and kind of, you know, show her love to them. So if you guys ever saw my mom's apartment, you could just tell how proud of a mom and grandmother she was. She had so many pictures in her house, like literally all the walls were filled with pictures. All of the dressers were filled with pictures. But honestly, most importantly, the thing that my mom really said was that when she planned, like the way that she wanted to make the world a better place was to raise sons. So my brother and I, who knew how to treat other women with respect. And she was proud of like my brother and I, we did well in school. And a matter of fact, like when we were cleaning out our apartment, we came across all, now I mean like all of the graduations, like dance recitals, award ceremonies, like honor society, you know, every little single thing like a kid can possibly get, she saved. And she highlighted our names, circled our names, like circled the accomplishment that we had, you know, for those of you who didn't listen to the initial story episode, I grew up as a dancer, kind of dancing. That was kind of my sport. So we all did that as a family. And that's how I actually met my wife at dance school. So I guess it paid off. And, you know, the dance performances, she would always like fight for like a, you know, center front row spot. And she was happiest, like she was happy for those things. But she was happiest when my brother and I like showed other women respect, kindness, and equality for like the women in our lives. So I think that's something that really kind of lives on in me and my brother. And speaking from a parent's perspective, like when I first became a dad, which was pretty much now 15 years ago, Olivia's birthday was a couple weeks back. And, that was the point I really appreciated the sacrifices that my mom made for us as children, right? Because you don't understand it when you're going through it. And now I know my kids don't understand it right now that I have like a kind of a tween and a teenager. My mom was a single parent raising 3 young children, and she decided to go back to college while working full time. So to set a better path for us as children, in 1988, she actually earned her associate's degree. And then I came across this. I didn't even know this, guys. I came across this. She was actually on the dean's list and the honors program. So this is going back as an adult learner with 3 kids in her program, which I thought was super impressive. And then she went on to graduate with her Bachelor's of Arts in 1992. And she did this while working overnight shifts and making sure that we were taken care of as children. So family and friends definitely helped out a lot. My Scotty family, all my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, they definitely helped out. And they were like the glue that kind of bonded us together throughout my life. So becoming a parent myself, I understand how hard it is to care for one child, let alone multiple children, all while working full time. And I believe my mom's work ethic is something that really I learned and led me to follow in her footsteps. I went back to school as an adult when my 2 girls were born, when I decided to advance my career to become a full-time professor, right? So I was a practicing clinician, physical therapist, and I was teaching part-time and really trying to give back to future physical therapy students, the things that I was learning in the clinic, and I really enjoyed educating. And so I went back full-time. In order to do this, I had to set along a path to obtain a PhD degree. So my girls were 1 year old and 4 years old at the time. So I did this for 6 years, working full-time as a PT, teaching part-time at the university, and then also being an involved active dad of active girls who were doing gymnastics, dance, right? Other groups, we were having all like the play dates and like the getting together with friends on the weekends, if you guys remember when kids were young. So I did this with the help of like a supportive wife. Like my wife was the rock. She was there to pick up like anything I couldn't do and to get us through the most difficult and challenging time of my life, honestly, for 6 years. That was pretty much 4 hours of sleep that I'm not proud of, but that was the only way I survived and got through that program, got that degree, wound up getting, the full-time professor job. And, that was the most difficult part of my life. So I always said that I don't know how my mom did that as a single working, parent of not only 2 children, but 3. Like, that is crazy. So for those of you who are single working parents, first off, kudos, hats off to you. The fact that you're running, the fact that you are taking care of kids, I completely commend you, honestly, especially in this day. I think that is just amazing. And by my mom doing that during a time period, honestly, in the 80s when it was not popular for women to be going to college and put career in front of being a mom of 3 kids. But I know she did this for the love of her family. So myself and my siblings could live a better life without the struggle that she had to go through and endure as a young adult, right? So I feel the same way about my kids, right? And we can kind of get into some of my struggles, but I think that's what we all want, right? So if you guys want that for your kids, like, isn't that our goal, right? Like, just type in kids into the comment box. Let me know. It's going to be hard for me to see a lot of you guys interacting there, but I will definitely check out these comments after we're done with the live. And, I think we sacrifice so much for our kids, right? Just because we want a better life for them. So I am so grateful that my mom did that for me. And because honestly, I would not be here with you today, right now, talking to you from my dining room. I'd maybe be in, some rundown place, maybe, addicted to something, or, who knows where my future in life could have landed. So I really, appreciate that my mom has always been there for my girls as well. She's always been there for Olivia and Gabby. whether it was watching them, so like my wife and I can actually like have a date night, celebrate an anniversary. She would always be there at the gymnastics competitions, band concerts, the plays, the dance recitals, dance competitions, volleyball games, and just taking them out for like ice cream or like taking them out for lunch. We always had a little tradition of Chinese food on Christmas Day and New Year's Day for some reason. She got that from my grandparents, and we've continued that tradition. So we're going to continue that tradition, that Scotty tradition, as we go on. And, you know, she's had some great memories of my daughter, but honestly, my daughters, I should say. My mom was really courageous, determined, and she was a fighter. And, you know, matter of fact, she fought off the virus, honestly, as long as she could, before her body just couldn't handle it anymore. So my mom had many, many comorbidities. She's had diabetes since she was in her 30s. She has type 1 diabetes. And she unfortunately, over the years of having that, and she was like the most compliant like diabetic there was in terms of like managing her medication, you know, watching her sugar levels and, you know, managing it. And unfortunately, it did wind up affecting her kidneys, her liver. She had another rare kind of liver disease. So she had a lot of comorbidities, unfortunately, going against her. But, you know, I was raised by a mom only, and with the help and support of my Scotty family. And now I have 2 beautiful daughters of my own that I know can do anything in life because of people like my mom, right? Females who kind of stepped out of their comfort zone and took risks. And I'm grateful she took the risk that she did and made the sacrifices to pave a better path for myself and my siblings and now her grandchildren. So especially, you know, girls like my daughters. So, you know, this is kind of what I said to my mom, and this is actually the picture that we had on my wedding day. So we danced to Wind Beneath My Wings, and I know she was a big Bette Midler fan, and that was kind of our song. And even though her wings were ready, our hearts were not. And despite this, I'm going to try my best to carry her love of family and friends into the world. So all of my days, I will continue to remember the values that she instilled in me, and she will always be the wind beneath my wings during every run. So sorry about that, guys, for getting a little emotional there. I thought I would be able to do this without tearing up on you. And, you know, we're 1 month later, but I think this is important for me in kind of my healing process, my grieving process. And I just honestly thank you for allowing me to share it with you. And I hope this story provides some context into who I am, why I do what I do here on the podcast, within Facebook, within our community. It's to share. It's to share love of family and friends, right? You guys are my running fam, right? You're my running friends. And I hope to continue to educate, continue to share, create our community of like-minded runners who are just not out there to brag about our race times, not out there for selfish reasons to just get faster for oneself, but to bring people along the way. So we don't care in this community if you are a fast runner or slow runner. You are a runner. There are no number of races that you need to hit in order to be considered a runner. There is no time that you need to hit. You don't need to run a 7-minute pace in order to be a runner, right? If you run a 15-minute pace, you are a runner. So that is the community that we have here within our Healthy Runner community. And that is the community that my goal is to build and continue to grow. And that is why we have expanded here in 2021 to have a team of coaches so we can better serve you And I just love our team of coaches, honestly, because again, like we all range we're very diverse in our running philosophies, our running experiences, the types of runners that we are. And I think we all have something to bring to the table that can help you and hopefully resonates with you. And if there is a particular coach that does resonate better with you, like drop into our DMs. Like we love like conversing with you. And you guys have probably gotten a Facebook Messenger message from me at one point, because I like to have conversations with people. And that is what honestly I valued most these past couple months, this past year, honestly, is getting to know you better and to have conversations, normal conversations, and not have to play like algorithm games and, post content to get a reaction, right? It is honestly to help you, and how can we help and serve you guys better? So that's really the community that we're creating here 1 year later on our anniversary of the Healthy Runner podcast. 58 episodes in, love it. We got more than 52, so we got more than an episode a week we've been averaging, which I think is pretty amazing. And honestly, it couldn't have been done. I have to give a shout out. I got to give a shout out to Miss Allie Eldridge. Allie Eldridge is our guru behind the scenes who's been helping me out publishing the podcast probably since like episode 20. So she's probably done more editing for the podcast than I actually have. So I started doing all of it on my own, and then realized pretty soon after the workload was just getting a little crazy to keep up with the pace, because I wanted to produce weekly. I wanted a weekly show, and Allie has been helping out tremendously. She takes all these episodes, edits them after, helps with the post-production, helps get it on the blog. So check out sparkyourtraining.com if you haven't. You can see literally every single episode, and even blogs that I've done before the podcast existed. So I think we're up to 77 blogs there on my website. So lots of information, lots of great content for you, as well as on our video channel, so on YouTube. So Allie does help publish those on YouTube. We create some graphics, and so shout out to you, Allie. Thank you for all your work. For those of you who have enjoyed any of that, give Allie a little shout out in the comment box. She's doing an amazing job. And our team of Healthy Runner coaches are doing an amazing job. And I'm loving the content. Like, are you guys loving the content that you've seen in this new year in January? I think it's great to hear from multiple voices, not just like hear from me. And honestly, their content is really good. Like, I love the post. And if you are enjoying the content, just type in content into the comment box. And then if you have a topic or you have a question, like, drop it in the comment box. We will do a post on it, right? That's what we're here for. We're here for you, okay? We're not here just to like serve whatever we want to learn or whatever we want to like get on our high horse about. It's really all about you. So you kind of guide the ship. Honestly, I get content ideas from when you sign up and when we have a conversation. And now I'm asking you like, hey, what are your running goals right now? What are you running this spring? Or, how long you've been dealing with this injury? Or would you like to know more information about, training? What would you like to learn more about? So those are the things that I want to do, that I really want to kind of promote as we go forward within this podcast and within the Healthy Runner group. So I see that Lisa is giving a shout out to all the coaches. Thank you so much, Lisa. And Roger said that he's liking the content. Awesome. I'm glad that you're liking that content. Cheryl's liking the content. Crystal's liking the content. I love it. Yeah, so Carolyn says that she knows the editing. The editing is a lot, right? It is crazy. Like, I was literally, guys, spending an hour to an hour and a half just editing, not even talking about publishing it within Libsyn on my website, right? And then thinking about publishing on YouTube. And so all that stuff takes a tremendous amount of time. Michelle says she reflects you completely. I'm sure your daughters will reflect on you and her as well. Thank you so much, Michelle. Carolyn says that she sounds like an amazing woman. She was, and that's my goal, is to like continue her legacy, honestly, and continue to make her proud. Again, she was someone who was always proud of her children and her grandchildren, just like we are of our daughters. And I think I'll give her a shout out, and thanks to Mom for me being here today, honestly, because if it wasn't for her, I would not be here today. So I thank her for allowing me to be here with you, and I thank you for you being here and you listening to this, and especially those of you who made it to the end and you're like, oh boy, this is going to be a bad one. This is going to be like a sob story. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys hanging in, and next week, we're going to get back to specific running content for the full episode. But hopefully this was helpful. If it was any of this helpful, just type in helpful into the comment box. Just even if it's just to learn a little bit more about me and my goals for our Healthy Runner community and my goals for the podcast within this next year, within this next 5 years, in the next 10 years, hopefully, right? I'm, in this for the long run. So just like my mom was in it for the long run to provide a better life for us, I'm in this for the long run to make you a better runner. And I actually just had this conversation within our Team Healthy Runner community. So we do like live trainings, just specific topics within people who are in our program. And we just talked about that. And, there's some runners who are looking at short-term gain. And I talked about, like, I'm not here just so you can run in, a race in 2 months from now. I'm here so you guys can run this summer, next fall, without being injured, being healthy. And I'm here for you guys so you can run for years and years to come, right? So that was like the whole goal of why I started the podcast. I was in my 40s, and I want to run into my 40s. I want to run into my 50s. I want to run into my 60s. Like, I literally want to be running until I am not here anymore. So that's the goal of this podcast. I hope we can keep it going as long as possible, but we can't do that without you guys. And so thank you for those that commented on Facebook. Thank you for those that are listening on the podcast. If you haven't yet, guys, and you're just listening on the podcast, please subscribe. Like, just hit that subscribe button, because it helps Apple Podcasts or Spotify actually realize that, hey, this is a content that people might be interested in. And then it shows up as a recommendation when someone types in running podcast into, Apple Podcast or in Spotify, or they type in a search topic. It's going to help. And then the other thing, honestly, that you can help out is by getting a little, just like, rate it. You can hit that star, hit 5 stars, hopefully, if you like it. And then honestly, just drop a quick review, like a sentence or two. It doesn't need to be anything lengthy, but those really help out a lot. And I would love to be able to get to 100 reviews on Apple Podcasts. So those that are listening on Apple Podcasts, guys, let's get to 100. Why not? We're a year in now, and we're growing, and I think we're pretty unique in that we are a running podcast that is dedicated to health. There are literally, like, maybe I can count on one hand, other physical therapists or physiotherapists that are doing what I'm doing, but I'm also doing it with a team of run coaches. So very collaborative effort, and I think bringing on the specialists that we bring on, dietitians, strength coaches, run coaches, therapists, right? Talking about running mindset, like, I don't know, shoe store owners, like, there's so many people that we've brought on and that I will bring on in the future so we can have content. I think we're pretty unique, honestly. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Obviously, that's why I started this, because I love podcasts, and that's what I listen to on all my easy conversational pace runs, as well as those long runs when I'm not running it with the team. So I think other podcasts out there, I think we're pretty unique. And if you're liking it and you feel the same, please just share it as a rating or review, or honestly, just like screenshot an episode you're listening to, throw it in your story on Instagram, tag me in it, like at Spark Your Training. I'd love to see those, because if you don't tag me in it, I'm not going to know it's there. So I love to see those. I love when you guys tag me. I love seeing your running wins. I love seeing your running selfies. So continue to do that. and I will continue to doing this. I'm dedicated, and my big thing was there were so many in the medical profession that aren't reaching out within our communities. To me, this has been an amazing platform to be able to do that and educate beyond just patients that come to see me for treatment. So hopefully that's been helpful for you, and I really look forward to seeing you guys in the future, whether it's virtually, and I love hearing from you. So please reach out to me, shoot me an email. All my links are in the show notes on the podcast. Shoot me an email, shoot me a DM, shoot me a message in Facebook Messenger, and I love connecting, right? It's all about connection and makes the world a better place. So that is it, guys. This was a deep dive. This was getting pretty personal, and a little dedication to my mom, and kind of a little comeback story for my mom and comeback story for me, kind of growing up in the somewhat ghetto. And, you know, one thing I didn't share, but we were on like food stamps. We were on welfare. We were on, it wasn't good. You know, we didn't have the best clothes growing up. But it was I think a nice comeback story, and it's a story on how hopefully you resonate with, and we can all honestly as a community come back from this terrible year, honestly, that it's been, for so many reasons. One of the reasons and why you're here is the running reason, right? And races canceled and training, you know, thrown out the window. But let's have a good comeback story in 2021. It has to get better. It has to. There's so many things that did not go as I thought it would when New Year's hit, and one of them being my mom getting sick and then passing. But there's so many people I know that have had terrible things that have happened. So let's turn 2021 around, and let's make it a comeback story, and hopefully we get live races soon, and we get back our running fitness, and we come back better and stronger than ever. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm a talker, just like my mom was. I told you. All right, guys, so stay active, stay healthy, and just keep running. Thank you all for tuning in. Love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Bye now.